Okay, so you found part 2 of the notes. This is still 1.4. This is just that last page of your notes, and we're still talking about functions. So, the last thing we're going to learn about functions for this section is about the vertical line test. You may have used this before. So the vertical line test is a test that you can draw on your paper to see if it's a function. So, like it says, we're going to draw vertical lines to test to see if it's a function. So, if you take your ruler or your ID, whatever you have, and you draw a bunch of vertical lines anywhere on the graph. So these are the 4 vertical lines I have in purple. I'm going to put a point where they intersect with this relation. Now, you can see every time I put a point, each of these lines only intersected our relation one time. So that means there's no repeating x values. So this relation is a function, because every time we drew a vertical line, it only touched our relation once. If we do the same type of thing over here, I'm just going to draw a bunch of vertical lines, random vertical lines. That last one wasn't very vertical. So these, the same thing. I'm going to mark where these vertical lines intersected my graph. As you can tell, each of these vertical lines only touched my graph once, or only crossed the graph once. So this is also going to be a function, because each of our lines only crossed once. So we're using vertical lines to see if there's a function. Let's look at this one right here. I'm going to draw a vertical line right here at x equals 4. So I drew a line right here at x equals 4. If I mark all the times that this line crosses this relation, I have to put 4 points. So what this means is, since my vertical line touched this graph 4 different times, this is not a function. It means that we had, if I write down these 4 points, we had 4, 7, we had 4, 1, we had 4, -1, and we had 4, -7. Now what did we say about functions? They don't have any repeating x values. Okay, well we drew a line through this function and we hit this x value of 4 times. So this is not a function. It does not pass the vertical line test. If I go over here and look at this one, I'm going to draw a couple lines. They can be anywhere. I'm going to see this one only touches once right here. This one crosses. This one would cross right down here. So yes, this is a function. Okay, I'm going to draw some vertical lines on this graph of our circle right here. So this first one I'm going to draw, I'm just going to put it right here. Now, because it's on our axis, our y-axis, you can't see it very well. If I see where this one touches, it touches at 1 point. So do I think this is a function? Well, some people would say, yeah, it only touches at 1 point. But the thing about the vertical line test is you have to be able to draw lines everywhere that only touch once in order for it to be a function. So if I start drawing some more lines, both of these lines cross our graph twice. So this is not a function. It does not pass the vertical line test. Okay, last one. If I draw a line on our axis again, our y-axis, this line only touches this graph once, correct? But if I draw more lines, we can see that drawing more lines shows me I cross this graph more than once. So this is also not a function. So, a summary of the vertical line test. You can use the vertical line test when you have things like a graph. You can draw your vertical lines on the paper and see how many times these lines cross your graph. If they cross more than once, it means it's not a function. If they cross just once, it means they are a function. But remember, especially on these two examples down here, I drew lines that only crossed our graphs once. That's why we have to try multiple different lines. Okay? This is the end of 1.4.